This is my summary of Alcibiades' speech in Plato's Symposium. Alcibiades' speech in Plato's Symposium serves as a vivid and deeply personal account of his relationship with Socrates. It is markedly different from the earlier speeches, which are abstract and philosophical discussions of love. Instead, Alcibiades offers a narrative that intertwines admiration, frustration, and humor, painting Socrates as a unique and enigmatic figure who embodies the highest ideals of love while remaining utterly immune to its physical and emotional temptations. His speech functions as both a eulogy and a critique, providing a humanizing counterpoint to the more theoretical arguments of the other speakers. Alcibiades' entrance and the context of his arrival. Alcibiades enters the dialogue late and disruptively, already inebriated from a night of drinking. His arrival adds a dramatic and comedic element to the symposium, contrasting the measured and philosophical tone of the preceding speeches. Persuaded to speak, he offers not a discourse on love itself, but a tribute to Socrates, focusing on the love he feels for the philosopher and the extraordinary qualities that make Socrates unique. He presents Socrates as a paradoxical figure. Alcibiades begins by describing Socrates as a paradox, likening him to a carved figure of Silenus, ugly on the outside but containing divine treasures within. Socrates, he claims, appears outwardly unremarkable or even ridiculous, with his unconventional appearance and mannerisms. However, beneath this exterior lies immense wisdom, moral integrity, and a capacity for profound insight. This duality reflects the central theme of Socrates' teachings, the distinction between superficial appearances and true virtue. For Alcibiades, Socrates' external ugliness is irrelevant compared to the inner beauty of his soul. Socrates' immunity to temptation. One of the key aspects of Alcibiades' speech is his account of Socrates' extraordinary self-control and resistance to temptation. Alcibiades humorously recounts his failed attempts to seduce Socrates, describing how he tried to lure the philosopher into a romantic and physical relationship. Despite his efforts, Socrates remained utterly unmoved, treating Alcibiades with the same intellectual and moral rigor as any other person. This story illustrates Socrates' mastery over physical desires and his unwavering focus on higher, spiritual ideals. Alcibiades portrays Socrates as someone who transcends the common human experience of love and passion, embodying the concept of heavenly love described earlier by Pausanias. For Socrates, love is not about physical attraction but the pursuit of truth, wisdom, and virtue. Socrates' courage and wisdom. Alcibiades praises Socrates for his bravery and resilience, recounting their shared experiences during military campaigns. He describes how Socrates remained calm and composed even in the face of extreme danger, showing remarkable endurance and focus. Socrates' courage, according to Alcibiades, stems from his philosophical mindset and his ability to prioritize what truly matters over immediate fears or desires. Alcibiades also highlights Socrates' wisdom, emphasizing his ability to expose ignorance and challenge assumptions. Socrates' method of questioning and dialogue, which reveals the flaws in conventional thinking, is presented as both inspiring and infuriating. Alcibiades admires Socrates' intellectual power but also acknowledges the discomfort it causes, as it forces individuals to confront their own limitations. Love and power dynamics. Alcibiades' relationship with Socrates is portrayed as deeply unequal, not because of differences in status or age, but because of Socrates' moral and intellectual superiority. Alcibiades was young and attractive, but Alcibiades admits to being captivated by Socrates, feeling both love and jealousy. He describes Socrates as a kind of seducer, not in a physical sense, but through his ability to captivate and inspire those around him. At the same time, Alcibiades' speech reveals his vulnerability and frustration. He feels powerless in the face of Socrates' indifference to worldly desires and his unwavering commitment to higher ideals. This dynamic reflects the tension between human weakness and philosophical aspiration, a recurring theme in the symposium. Alcibiades' emotional conflict. Alcibiades' speech is deeply emotional, reflecting his conflicted feelings toward Socrates. On one hand, He admires Socrates profoundly, seeing him as a moral and intellectual exemplar. On the other hand, he feels humiliated and rejected by Socrates' refusal to reciprocate his romantic advances. This emotional conflict underscores the difficulty of loving someone like Socrates, who prioritizes spiritual and intellectual pursuits over personal attachments. Alcibiades' experience highlights the challenges of navigating love when it involves a figure who transcends conventional human desires. The themes and contributions to the dialogue. Alcibiades' speech adds several layers of complexity to the Symposium. The nature of Socratic love. Alcibiades' account provides a concrete example of Socrates' philosophy of love, demonstrating how it contrasts with more conventional, physical expressions of love. Socrates' approach prioritizes the cultivation of virtue and wisdom over personal gratification. The limits of human love. Alcibiades' speech explores the limitations and vulnerabilities of human love, particularly when directed toward an idealized figure like Socrates. It highlights the tension between human desires and the pursuit of higher, philosophical goals. The role of humor and humanity. Alcibiades' speech introduces a humorous and personal element to the dialogue, humanizing Socrates and providing a counterpoint to the more abstract speeches. It reminds the audience that philosophical ideas are lived experiences, not just theoretical concepts. The complexity of admiration. Alcibiades' mixed feelings towards Socrates reflect the complexity of admiration and love. His speech captures the simultaneous attraction and frustration that can arise when encountering someone who embodies unattainable ideals. Conclusion. Alcibiades' speech in the Symposium is a passionate and deeply personal tribute to Socrates, offering a vivid portrayal of his character and philosophy. Through humor, emotion, and narrative, Alcibiades highlights Socrates' unique qualities, including his self-control, wisdom, and courage. At the same time, the speech reveals the challenges and tensions of loving someone who prioritizes higher ideals over personal attachments. As the final speech in the dialogue, Alcibiades' account serves as a powerful and humanizing conclusion, grounding the abstract discussions of love in the lived experiences of admiration, vulnerability, and desire. Alcibiades talked about Socrates' military experience. I will go into that a little, as this seems to be pertinent to Socrates' character. Socrates' military experience, as recounted in Plato's works, including the Symposium, serves as a testament to his courage, endurance, and philosophical detachment even in times of great danger. Alcibiades, in his speech in the Symposium, provides some of the most vivid and personal accounts of Socrates' conduct during military campaigns, particularly in Potidaea, 432 to 430 BC, Delium, 424 BC, and Amphipolis, 422 BC. Potidaea and endurance and hardship. During the military expedition to Potidaea, Socrates distinguished himself through his remarkable endurance and resilience. Alcibiades describes how Socrates, despite harsh conditions, remained calm, uncomplaining, and focused. While others struggled with hunger, fatigue, or discomfort, Socrates maintained a level of composure that set him apart. He exhibited an almost superhuman ability to endure physical hardship, which Alcibiades attributes to his philosophical training and detachment from bodily needs. Alcibiades also recalls a moment when Socrates saved his life during this campaign. In the heat of battle, Socrates carried Alcibiades, who had been injured, to safety, demonstrating not only bravery but also a deep sense of loyalty and responsibility toward his comrades. Delium and fearlessness in battle. At the Battle of Delium, Socrates again demonstrated his extraordinary courage and self-control. As the Athenians suffered a crushing defeat and retreated in chaos, Socrates remained calm and steadfast. According to Alcibiades, Socrates' composure under pressure inspired those around him and allowed him to retreat in an orderly and dignified manner. His behavior in this moment epitomized the philosophical ideal of fearing neither death nor danger, as he prioritized integrity and rational judgment over panic or fear. In critical moments like these, a man's true character is revealed. What would you do in a life or death situation? Stand and fight or collapse in fear? Amphipolis and philosophical detachment. Although specific accounts of Socrates at Amphipolis are less detailed, his overall military career reflects his philosophical attitude toward life and death. For Socrates, courage in battle was an extension of his commitment to virtue and the pursuit of truth. His fearlessness stemmed not from recklessness, but from his belief that death is not the greatest evil. This perspective, rooted in his broader philosophical worldview, allowed him to act with consistency and moral clarity even in the face of mortal danger. The philosopher-soldier ideal. Socrates' military experiences provide a practical illustration of his philosophical ideals. His behavior in battle reflects his teachings on the importance of self-mastery, the pursuit of virtue, and the proper orientation toward life's challenges. By remaining steadfast and rational in situations that would provoke fear or despair in others, Socrates demonstrated the power of philosophy to guide action and sustain resilience. Socrates' military conduct also serves to bridge the gap between theory and practice. While he is often remembered for his dialogues and intellectual pursuits, his actions on the battlefield show that his philosophy was not confined to abstract discourse, but was deeply integrated into his way of life. In sum, Socrates' military experiences, as described by Alcibiades and others, highlight his exceptional character and the practical application of his philosophical principles. His courage, composure, and self-mastery in the face of danger made him a source of inspiration for his contemporaries and continue to contribute to his enduring legacy as a philosopher-warrior. These experiences are very impressive for a philosopher and teacher. I had always thought academics were not useful in war. This adds depth to the character of Socrates.